Jesus Christ, that's close. We're not that personal yet. We're not on that level. That's better. Is it? Are you guys following me? My name's Chantal. I am 20 years old, and at the beginning of this year I decided to open up my own studio gallery on Kangaroo Island and pursue art full-time without a fine arts degree, and this is the story of how I did it. So at the beginning of this year, I was faced with two options. One was to continue studying full-time at university and change my major for the 5th time, or two, open up my own studio and pursue art. I decided to choose the latter, take the risk. You only live once, and I'm a firm believer in the saying that you should live life on your own terms, and no one else's. I came across the space through a friend, and it had the perfect lighting and vision for me to bring all my art ideas and visions into reality. I named the studio Bloom by the Ocean because I live on an island, and I fitted in gallery lights, new carpet. I furnished the place with desks and tables, and I also reached out to a few other local artists. And here we are, 4 months later. The studio is definitely a growing place. There is still so much I would like to change and create. For example, I am still reorganising all the stock and materials that have been in boxes behind my desk. But yes, it is evolving. And in this video, I paint 2 artworks and talk about the importance of taking risks and stepping outside your comfort zone. I think one of the most important things in life generally is to take risks. You're never going to know what will happen unless you take the risk. Don't worry about the outcome, because if you don't take the risk, you're failing yourself. If you have the desire to dream big and achieve your dreams, take the risk. Take the risk and don't look back. Don't stop yourself because you fear failure, or prevent yourself from taking the risk because you don't think you're ever going to be successful. Let me tell you right now, if you think you're going to be successful initially, you've already failed. The term success itself is relative to the individual, literally making the entire concept irrelevant in my opinion. It is completely acceptable for it not to work the first time, the second, or the third. The point is, after you take the risk, don't give up. Don't give up, even if it takes you years. So I decided to take the risk and paint without a reference for the first time with a limited colour palette, and I also decided to paint skin with oil paint for the first time, and I am predominantly a watercolour artist who dabbles in oil paint, so this was definitely a challenge. I learned that I don't really like oils, but perhaps that's because this is my first painting. I also found it extremely hard to find peace with the piece, knowing that I wanted it to look so much different. But the point isn't to create a masterpiece, it's to learn from our mistakes. What would we change and do differently next time? Artist Oil Painting Odorless Solvent. It was at this moment that I realised that the odorless solvent wasn't going to peel back the bright yellow, and I was actually stuck with it. So I had to roll with the flow and start painting with a bright yellow background. Hello, I just got back in the gallery this morning and I took another look at my piece and I still hate it. I dislike it, I don't want to finish it, I don't want to paint it at all, I just have no energy to paint it. Because I set myself up for the false expectation that it's going to look exactly how I want it to. It's not, it never is, it's never going to. We know that already, we're an artist. So I either have two options. One, I start all over again, or two, I continue working on the piece and hopes that it gets through the ugly phase and starts to look better. I don't want to do either. Just not looking how I want it to. The skin texture's not right, the painting doesn't look how I want it to, you know, how I envisioned. Obviously I can't really say much because it's like, the sun's really bright. Not finished, but I look at these oil painting pieces by other artists and I think, why doesn't my work look like theirs? And I'm like, well, of course it's not, Chantal. They've been practicing their craft for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So of course your first oil painting is not going to look like theirs, and I need to remind myself that. So yeah, that is how I'm currently feeling about the piece. I will definitely pursue it. Taking a step outside your comfort zone is rewarding to any individual, but today I see less and less people doing so, especially in the art community where experimentation and stepping outside your comfort zone with new media is looked down upon and traded with the urgent hurry of discovering your art style and making a consistent body of work in order to be follower worthy and growing your social media. It neglects the ongoing importance of stepping outside your comfort zone in order to discover new things about yourself and to grow individually, which I think is sometimes more important. Painting the face portrait of this piece as well as the hand, and I am still not very happy with it. I still don't really like the face complexion, the blending. However, I don't think that's really the problem here. I think that the colours of the face contrasted with the yellow is distorting my perception of the piece. I love colour theory, don't we love it? And it's making me just feel disconnected from it. Like the bright yellow background especially is distorting like all the colours of this piece and making me think that it doesn't look right, when if I put a white background on it, it probably would look fine. So I decided to take the painting home for the weekend, and I completely covered the yellow background with colour. And shocker, I still very much dislike it. But in order to grow, you need to constantly step out of your comfort zone. I would rather be uncomfortable with the possibility for new opportunities than comfortable and living in a stagnant period of my life. It is extremely daunting to commit yourself to something that you're not good at. But once you do, everything that you feared beforehand no longer becomes stressful. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is not always positive. Holy heck, stepping outside your comfort zone can teach you so much about what you hate and what you do not want to do. But being comfortable with that is very powerful. I'm back, and I thought I would sit down and give you my final thoughts on this art piece. Said art piece, oh god. Did it capture what I envisioned it wanting to look like initially? No. It was a struggle. The colour theory behind it was a complete and utter painful experience, but we got there in the end. Is it a masterpiece? No, and it doesn't have to be. I feel like what stops a lot of creatives from producing work is the idea that it needs to be a masterpiece the first time round. And I tell you right now, the most refreshing thing is going onto famous artists, writers, creatives, Instagram or social media and scrolling right back to the beginning of their page and seeing their work. It is so refreshing because those pieces aren't masterpieces. I feel like I could paint those, you know? And so when you see the time and effort they've put into creating, you think, holy shit, I can do that too. You can, honestly. But what I struggle with is having it perfect and a masterpiece right now. Like, I want it right now. It's that instant perfection, lol. Dream on, Chantel. Anyway, and perhaps that stops a lot of people too from creating. But I want to say, as much as to a non-art observer, this might look okay, but to someone who's an artist and looks at this, oh boy, would they see picking up all my mistakes, and I do as well, because it's not a masterpiece. It isn't. I think a lot of people, myself included, also struggle with the idea of, is my voice important? Is my art important? In this overwhelming abyss of other voices and talented and skilled people, especially in the art world, the creative world, the writing world, there is so many talented people that have their own work that is unique, and I constantly get bombarded and confused and overwhelmed with wondering whether my work is good enough to fit into there. So I realised I forgot to film an outro, and I want to say thank you so much for watching my video. He was judging the out of me. Anyway, I want to say thank you so much for watching my video. If you want to see me make another one, like and subscribe. And if you want to see my art and my work in real time, I do have an Instagram and a TikTok, and if you would like my art on your wall and support me as an artist, I do also have an online art shop. Anyway, thank you. Love you. Bye.